Hi everyone and welcome back to 5 Minute Family Search. So now what I would like to talk about is how to know if an ancestor that you're working on is in family tree. So you have somebody that you want to add and do their ordinance work for, but first instead of just putting them straight into the tree, we need to check to make sure that they're not already there. And the reason for doing this is to make sure that we're not creating duplicate records. And as I've talked about in another video, a duplicate record is when a person has their name in Family Tree more than one time, which then leads to information being processed several times. So a person's ordinance work, instead of being done one time, may be done 2 times, 3 times, and even more than that. So what we will do first is we're just going to start on this main page here. And we're going to come over here to find. Now there is another video that talks about finding somebody by their ID number. This is going to be finding somebody by their name. So it's going to bring up this dialog box, and if you it's either way, whichever way you get to, just scroll over to the left. If we were doing ID, we'd be right where we need to be. We are going to be finding by name, so we want to click on the left. So let's just pretend that I want to see if Albert Vriesacker is in Family Tree. And I know that he is because he's my grandfather and I put him in a few years ago. And so I am just going to go ahead and type in his first name and type in his last name. And like I've talked about in previous videos, you want to keep your search as general as possible because the computer may not understand that it's the same person if their death date is just a few years off or their birth year is just a few years off. Sometimes it'll catch it as the same person and sometimes it will not. So the more general you start, the better, and then you can narrow yourself down. Now, this is an easier name, at least in my opinion, Albert Vriesacker, because there's not as many Vriesackers as there's going to be, say, Smiths and things like that. And so I will show you how this process works. It's the same for any name, and then you can just pull in the information as you proceed. So if you get a lot of Albert Vriesackers, I'll show you how you could refine that to pull it down to one person. So Albert Vriesacker, he is male. And I know that this says birth, christening, death, burial, marriage. He was born in Wisconsin and he died in Wisconsin, but I'll just come down here to death to show you how to do that. And I'm just going to put in Wisconsin. Now it does give me the opportunity to click here on Wisconsin, United States. I'm going to do that because it helps the computer to recognize those places. So even though I know the death, the birth, all of this other information, I'm not going to add that in because as I said, I want to keep it general. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click the Find button. And it's going to generate a list of all Albert Vriesackers that are in Family Search. Now, like I said, that's more of a unique name. So up here at the top, this is my grandfather, Albert Gustav Vriesacker, and it came up with his information fairly quickly. Now, if I had a lot of Albert Vriesackers and I was to scroll down this list, then I would absolutely want to make sure that I am making that selection a little bit more specific. So he passed away in 2006. I could come over here and I could type in 2006 on his death year. And where I am is on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see this big, long gray box. And these are all fields that I can enter information to that will help me with my search. But as I said, I am just going to put in a death year for him. So I've already put in Wisconsin is where he passed away, and his death year is 2006. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click Find. So as I said, if there were multiple Albert Vriesackers, it would have narrowed it down now to all of the Albert Vriesackers who passed away in Wisconsin in the year of 2006. And that is a quick way to go from being very general to much more specific and to be able to find your relative fairly quickly in Family Search. Now, if he wasn't in Family Search and if I did all of this, then I would know that he's not in here. And then that would give me the opportunity to go back out, and to add a person and to put Albert Gustav Vriesacker into Family Tree, and they would assign him a unique ID number, and then I would be able to go ahead and take his name to the temple and to do his ordinance work for him. And that is how you search for a person in the family tree before you add them into your tree to do their temple work.